Okay, so good morning everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our SME webinar, Preparing Your Apprentice for Endpoint Assessment. My name is Julie Foster and I work for the Department for Education in the Skills Directorate. So our webinar today is Preparing Your Apprentice for Endpoint Assessment. Before we move on to our main presenters, I'd just like to provide a very high level outline of what endpoint assessment is. And I just wanted to cover 4 key areas really. So the first one, every apprentice must pass a set of assessments at the end of their apprenticeship, collectively called endpoint assessment. This allows the apprentice to demonstrate that they have met the occupational standard, complete their apprenticeship and receive their final grade or certificate. It's an independent assessment of the knowledge, skills and behaviours which have been learned and demonstrated throughout the apprenticeship through off-the-job training and on-the-job experiences that the apprentice would have had in your organisations. The apprentice evidences their full competence at this point. To ensure assessments are reliable and robust, the assessments are carried out by an independent endpoint assessment organisation. EPA will include assessment methods such as workplace observation, practical tests, written tests, interviews or a project. Work completed prior to the gateway such as logbooks and portfolios can be used to support an assessment method such as a professional discussion, but won't be an assessment method in its own right. So that's just a very high level overview for you. I hope you found that overview helpful. But most importantly, now I'm going to hand over to our presenters who will showcase how they support apprentices through their endpoint assessments within their sectors. I'm very happy to introduce you to today's presenters. We have 2 fantastic companies represented today from 2 different sectors. First, we have Kelly Butler from Topsday Nurseries, who is joined by Amy Alderson from Aspire Training. And our second presenter today is Helen Rutherford from Exceed Hairdressing. So I'm now going to hand over to Kelly to get us started. Thank you, Kelly.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, I'm Kelly Butler and I am the manager of Topsday Nurseries here in Christchurch. I am also myself a level 5 apprentice in childcare and education. So I'll tell you a bit about Tops. We are a chain of 32 nurseries across the south of the UK and we currently employ 110 apprentices. So we have 38 level 2s, 61 level 3s and 12 level 5s. I'm here today to share with you how and why our apprenticeship programme has been so successful here at Tops. Let's firstly look at how we manage our apprenticeships in our organisation. Topsday Nurseries have a dedicated recruitment team who are responsible for finding suitable apprentices. The recruitment team match them with our nursery requirements. And to avoid any withdrawals from the apprenticeships, we focus on the main 3 things: the right learner, the right programme and the right time. We use Aspire Training team for all our apprentices and they're a great training provider amongst the best rates in the industry. Selecting the right training provider with a high success and retention rate will make a massive difference to the overall success and quality of your apprenticeship programmes. Through Aspire Training team, our apprentices participate in a structured learning programme that is developed and bespoke to the learner's needs. For example, they can adapt the assessment methods or teaching styles to meet their individual needs. We also work closely with our training provider to design the structure that also meets the requirements of our own organisation, ensuring that the programme is in line with our visions and values. We also have apprenticeship mentors in each setting to ensure our learners are guided and supported throughout that learning journey. Excellent communication and collaboration with your training provider is key to a successful apprenticeship programme. Now let's look at why our apprenticeship programme is so successful. Working closely with an engaging provider throughout the apprenticeship journey helps iron out any issues from the start. We have regular reviews with our trainers. By actively taking part in these, it helps me as a manager to know where my team are within their training and what I can help them with or what we need to focus on within the setting. It helps me ensure that I can motivate and support my team on apprenticeships. This really does keep the apprentices motivated and engaged and on track with their programme. As part of our apprenticeships, employers must give 20% off the job training, which usually equates to about 6 hours per week for a full-time member of staff. So as a manager and an early years provider, we can break that down and make sure that the learners are booked in and out of ratio for the trainer visits, and they're off the job training each week. This can be a challenge if short-staffed. Everybody knows that at the moment nurseries are struggling for staff, but having open communications with our provider ensures that meeting the requirements of both the needs of the nursery and of our apprenticeships too. We adjust more and move activities around to suit both parties. Being flexible and adaptable is key. An integral part of the apprenticeship programme is the EPA process, and this is the endpoint assessment. We also work very closely with Aspire training team to provide a good level of support to our apprentices. They're going through the endpoint assessment. First and foremost, clear communication about the EPA process from the very beginning of the apprenticeship. That includes what the EPA is all about, what it involves, how it will be assessed, and what is expected from the apprentice. Aspire training team conduct mock assessments to stimulate the conditions of the EPA. This helps apprentices become both familiar with the assessment format and also reduces anxiety. As an employer, I also recognise that an EPA can be a very stressful process and provide emotional support to my apprentices within my nursery and others too. They have suitable access to the computer in a quiet area, and I'll always make sure as a manager that other staff are aware of what is going on, especially if EPA is going on. It's nice to be able to book the office out so that staff member feels comfortable and ready to go ahead. It's really best to get the best of their abilities for the endpoint assessment. And lastly, the organisation of the endpoint assessment is essential, making sure that your learners, like I said, are booked out and ready for the assessments and that they have suitable access. Due to how well we work with the Aspire training team, we are delighted so far that this year we have 100% success rate. As an apprenticeship employer, we also work in partnership with our training provider and Aspire training team to recognise and celebrate the achievements of all of our apprentices. We hold an annual awards ceremony to celebrate the success of all of our colleagues, which include the Apprenticeship Award Awards. During Apprenticeship Week, we make all of the learners feel special and valued, and our training provider visits and gives the apprentice gifts. We celebrate the learner completions and success on all of our social media channels, so you can follow both Aspire and TOPS on Instagram and Facebook, and it encourages our learners to progress within the company. TOPS Day Nurseries was ranked amongst one of the top apprenticeship employers here in the UK. Later on, there'll be a short video after the slideshow to show you what that was all about and what it entails. Being successful is very important to TOPS, and investing in our apprenticeships and growing our own meets the values and the ethos of our company. So we have Jasmine, for example. She was one of our level 1 students, and she's now progressed from a level 1 to level 2, level 3, level 5, and now she is a nursery manager at TOPS. By supporting young and inexperienced apprenticeships, it's given the opportunity to instill our culture from the very start here at TOPS. In result, it's a very committed workforce and are working towards goals and beliefs here at TOPS Christchurch.
Oh, thank you so much, Kelly. That's really useful insight to how you support apprentices to prepare for EPA, understand a bit more about your organisation, but how important communication and support is throughout the whole apprenticeship. And in particular, and it was real strength, is how closely you work with the training provider. So I'd now like to hand over to our final presenter, Helen Rutherford from Exceed Hairdressing, to give your take on EPA within your organisation. Helen, so over to you.
So I started 35 years ago as an apprentice myself, so fully understand the role of an apprenticeship. At 23 years ago, I opened my first business, and I've 100% always taken on staff that have been apprenticeship trained by myself. We take apprentices on to fill a skill gap in the business. We also make sure that they are suitable for the job role. We grow new talent in the business through apprenticeships, and we develop a workforce that is fit for purpose to an industry standard and to the role of Exceed. We start by using the government digital apprenticeship service to recruit our apprentices. We also find a training provider on the DAS, which is also rated from the apprentices, the employers and the pass rate. So this is key to the success of the apprenticeship programme. We work with an awarding body, which is City and Guilds, and there's lots of resources on their website to help with the process. Exceed successes with apprenticeships. We've got a constant flow of professional workforce coming through Exceed. We develop young people for work and life. We support them to make sure that they're on the right course with the support of their training provider. The challenges that we've seen at Exceed are the uncertain economic climate. Functional skills can be a problem within the industry, as the learners will need to have a level 4. So this is a big commitment that we need off the apprenticeships to get through the maths and English. Also, the apprenticeships commitment and resilience to the course and to the endpoint assessment. We work as a team at Exceed, and all our staff are apprenticeship trained, so fully understand the role that the new apprenticeship will go through. In their first year on their apprenticeship at level 2, the apprentice will be investing time, and the salon will invest time in their training plan to get them to understand their job role. In the second year, we develop the knowledge, skills and behaviours learned and work on that, generating a clientele which will then produce an income. In the third year, we build a clientele and work with the apprentice so that they've then got guaranteed employment at the end of the apprenticeship and are providing a profit to the salon. Support for the endpoint assessment at Exceed. We work really closely with our training provider, and we feel that this is key to the success. In our first 12 weekly review with the apprentice, the manager and the training provider, we look at the EPA process. We also look at IFATE and the standards and what is needed within the EPA process. This in hairdressing being a practical assessment, independently assessed, a presentation and a written exam. The EPA organisations will all have lots of resources for this and to help and support you. We work with our training provider with a scheme of work to make sure that all these areas will be covered. We also have a parents' evening that we invite the parents into the salon and explain not only the apprenticeship but what will be needed at the endpoint assessment. We found great success with the parents' evening. Throughout the journey of the apprenticeship, we work with the training provider on the second, the third and the fourth review. Every review we discuss the endpoint assessment. We link it with our off-the-job training where they go day release into the training provider. The training provider then comes and also does on-site assessments. We've got 24/7 access to an e-portfolio, so we can see at any point if there is a lack of progression. We also have milestone grading where we look at the key parts of the EPA and we grade throughout the course to say whether they are working to a pass, merit or distinction. The end of the journey, which is 12 weeks before the EPA, the gateway process, we look to make sure that their presentation, their revision on their written exam, and the models that they will do in their endpoint assessment are fit for purpose. We also use the vast resources on City of Guilds with videos, frequently asked questions, guides, and the marking criteria that the awarding body will use to grade. They will sit a mock EPA with the training provider, which is graded. And from that feedback, we will look to see if there's any improvements that are needed or changes to improve the grade. From this, we have gained successes, and the exceeds achievements is that we grow apprentices into productive staff members that are fully understanding how the business works. The apprentices are nurtured to future professionals with a qualification and transferable skills for life. We're proud to say that all our apprenticeships that have come through Salon Exceed have had 100 success throughout the course. Our recognisations are: we have won National Apprentice of the Year, Regional Champion Apprentice of the Year, Regional Apprentice of the Year, Regional Employer Apprentice of the Year, and Top 50 Apprentices of the Year over the last 13 years that we've been entering competitions. Thanks for this, and sorry about the technical at the beginning.
No worries, Helen. Thanks very much. And it's great to hear your dimension of how you work with EPA within your organisation. Great to see how you broke it down into the start, middle and end, and how you address each area, and how critical, again, it is working with others and getting the process started early. So just like to say a massive thank you to both presenters today. I think you've done a brilliant job in showcasing EPA and how in different sectors you've overcome barriers to success. And most of all, it's amazing you both have 100% success rate. We're now going to open up our Q&A session, and we will try and answer as many as we can. We probably have about 2 to 3 minutes to do this. So I'm now going to hand over to Anthony, if you're okay to start.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Thank you. And thank you again from me, Kelly and Helen. You really are clearly top employers. Fantastic achievement rates. We've had a couple of questions coming in the chat, which I have responded to. So thank you to Michael and Lucy. I can't see any more at the moment, but yeah, well, one of the things that I picked up from what you said was just the importance of being organised and planning. Do you want to say any more about that, either of you, in terms of prep for endpoint assessment? When do you start thinking about it?
Well, at Exceed, this has improved over the course of the new apprenticeship standards. And at the beginning, I think even the training providers were unsure of the endpoint assessment, and was concentrating on the standard, and then the endpoint assessment was a last minute thought. But as you know, we're all aware, we should be discussing this at the beginning, and it has been for the grades as well. It's been, and the stress of the students, if we discuss it at the first review, that has benefited the students and ourselves, so we totally understand what is needed from us.
Yeah, it's about people being prepared. What about you, Kelly? How early do you go in?
Yeah, so it's been really handy for me being an apprentice myself. So I'll be going through the endpoint assessment pretty soon. So it's really good to get going with Aspire as soon as that student shows interest. So as soon as a member of my staff wants to sign up for an apprenticeship, then we're straight onto Aspire. We'll send over the assessor, who we've got a really good relationship with. And from the get-go, the manager does the involvement. So we'll plan a time for the initial assessment. We'll plan the EPA in ahead of time. And like Helen said, when you first get into it, you don't know much about it. So it is about talking to Aspire or whoever your providers are, to make sure that you know exactly what it entails.
Yeah, that makes sense. We've had not a question from an anonymous guest, but love the idea of the parents' evening during the whole process. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we've only just started that, but we do kind of ask the parent to come at interview because, you know, sometimes they've got challenges themselves at home, do you know, and you can get a bit of a feeling for are they going to be supported by the a parent or not. But them actually, they want them to succeed probably more than what the apprenticeship want us to exceed. So having them on board has been really, really key, and letting them understand what, you know, it is just like a driving test, and you know, it is a pass or a fail. So it is really important that they totally understand, and that they then get the feedback from the mock exam to help and support them with that. Again, mock exams, we've only been doing that for the last year. Before that, you know, we didn't do them, and we've seen better grades since doing the mock exams.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Parents involved, you know, particularly with younger apprentices, I'm sure it'll make a real difference. I'm just going to go on to one other from Paul. A great 100% completion rate. What do you see as the main reason for dropout rates? I mean, I guess if you've got high completion rates, but you will still have people who are withdrawing early. What are the main reasons that you're seeing in your sectors?
I think for us, they do struggle with the maths and English. I think the dropout rate is maybe they wasn't fit for the job. So ours will start as a Saturday job to make sure that they actually fully understand the role and the basic role that they have to do. But again, you know, sometimes, you know, you can't help them dropping off financially. But it is all making sure that they're really clear what they're getting themselves into, and the role that they are not going to be a qualified hairdresser after 6 weeks. They are going to have to work up through the knowledge, skills and behaviours to get that.
Yeah, so it's right person, right job. Kelly, have you got any thoughts for your sector?
Yeah, I agree, completely agree with Helen. It's definitely, I think if there is dropout, then it is because they're not the right person for the job. Like they say, you do have to start from the bottom, and it is a lot of cleaning and sweeping, especially in the nursery sector. It'll be similar to a hairdresser when you start off. There's restrictions to what you can and can't do. You know, you can't be left with children alone. You can't do the things that a level 2 or a level 3 would do. So sometimes I think it can be a bit of a frustration that they will want to do that, but they won't feel like, oh, they'd be like, oh, it's going to take too long to get to that stage. But I think as a manager, it's important that we just keep them going, and we say we've all been there, we've all started from the bottom, you know, look at where you can get to. It's just about motivating them and keeping them going.
Yeah. Okay. That's great, but thank you both. Apologies we haven't had time to answer all the questions. We will come back to those, and we will send them out to everybody who's joined. So thank you for those. I can see somebody's got the hand up as well. Sorry, we can't take you off mute, unfortunately, but do pop it in the chat and we will get back to you after the event. So thanks again from me. Julie, do you just want to wrap up?
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Yeah, thanks for everyone for the questions. It is great to see such engagement and the responses from both presenters. So just a couple more slides before we finish. We're just slightly over. Can I just remind everyone that today's webinar was the second in our SME webinar series for this year. You can see the schedule on the screen. These are the confirmed dates and topics for the rest of this year if you wish to subscribe. And I think the link for the registration page hopefully is going in the chat now. And we're just going to pop a final poll on the chat function. If you could complete that now as well, that would be fantastic. And just to conclude, following the webinar, we will be sending out a short survey for you to complete. Again, we always appreciate your feedback because it does help us shape and define what we do moving forward. And the email going out to you all will have all the links from today. We'll have a copy of the slides and the Q&A documents, and a link to our employer portal as well, which is most important. So thank you all for attending, and I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Thank you.